not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum, brought to you by Law. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Welcome back to WSTU 1450, the Treasure Coast Forum. I'm your host, Cassidy Fowler, and today I'm joined with
Kane Stringer.
Alex Supreme.
Great.
Okay,
Yep.
welcome aboard.
Yep.
Thank you.
Everybody from South Fork, right?
Actually, no.
No.
I'm from Delray Beach.
Delray Beach.
Yep.
Are you also involved in youth and government?
No, he's not.
Oh, it's just on summer break.
Yeah, just
Okay.
on summer break,
All right.
getting
all
people
right.
in, you know.
Okay. All right.
So today is a pre-recorded airing, and for anyone for future reference, different means of listening to the show rather than listening to it straight from the radio. You can go on to your phone or computer, type in WSTU1450.com and click play to the current streaming.
The listen now button,
Mm-hmm.
and you're connected.
Yep.
And-
Or you
yeah.
can listen on YouTube
Correct.
with YouTube Live.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. So yeah, thank you for that. And with that, let's get started.
All
so
right.
what is new in the news that we want to touch base on today?
So on Sunday, President Trump tweeted a tweet that many people saw as a little radical and racist.
Do you have the
I
quote?
can read all of the tweets.
that
he
would be
posted.
good.
Yep.
Okay.
All
Yes.
right.
Because then we can,
Dissect it. Yep.
rather than telling our listeners that it's racist,
No.
we should let them decide for themselves.
Yep. All
Okay.
right.
Mhm.
So he started off by saying, "So interesting to see progressive Democratic congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt, and inept anywhere in the world."
He's talking about Somalia.
Yeah, Somalia. Yep.
Mhm.
And then, if they even have a functioning government at all, comma, now loudly, and this goes on to the next tweet saying, "and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came from? They come back and show us how it is done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements."
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what part of that is racist?
Well, I didn't say that it was racist.
I know, I
People are
understand.
assuming that it's racist.
But that's what
yeah.
CNN says on their banner headline.
Mhm.
The main part of the tweet that CNN calls racist is where he tells the Ilhan Omar to go back to her country. And
Okay.
that's, I don't know, many people perceive that as like him directly attacking her and saying that she shouldn't be here. And
Well, no, he's saying if you don't like it,
yeah,
you
if
got a
don't like
problem.
it,
Yeah.
leave. But that go back to your country has been like in politics, or like it's been thrown around in a very derogatory way. And so it sort of sounds like he's trying to say that, even though you can tell he's not.
yeah. I mean, so the U.S. government saved her and her family's life.
Mhm.
They were able to bring them here because they were in a bad way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Likely they would have died.
Mhm.
And and what I understand is that in all the years since she's been here and she's been in public life and all the speeches she's given, she's never said anything appreciating the host government that saved her life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not a word. So
Mhm.
which one is racist?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if you want to really parse it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting that, how news media should label a comment. They should
Mhm.
just say this is the comment.
And let the audience decide.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I think
Mhm.
that it was a little bit out of line to say, go back where you came from or go back to where you belong.
Well,
Because personally,
no, what
like-
he said was go back and solve your problems,
Mhm.
and then maybe if you can solve those problems,
Then
you
come
can
back and help us.
You can maybe teach us how to solve problems here.
Mhm.
I really
don't see
If you,
anything that wrong.
again, if you take it out of context, it's a problem. But if
And
you,
that,
if
yeah,
you
that's the
take
problem
it,
with media now.
if you take it in context, it seems perfectly legitimate. Solve your problems. Go back to where you already know the culture.
Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what the problems are. Fix those problems, and maybe you can teach us how to do the same thing here. I
Mhm.
think that's a fairly legitimate perspective, personally.
I
Yeah.
think some people are just interpreting it from media as him saying that you're not even like American, that go
Yeah.
back to where you affiliate, even though she
That's
affiliates
not
with
what
the
he
United
said, though.
States.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's how like media is interpreting it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. What do you mean to tell me you breathing air? You're not supposed to breathe air.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what he says or does.
It's just
people-
pinned as negative.
People are going to
automatically.
take fault with it.
Mhm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So that was, that's that.
Mhm.
What else is there on that? Because I know there's still the ongoing spat between what do they call themselves? The posse, the four Congress people.
At the detention center.
No,
No,
no.
not
Victoria.
the four congresswomen that we were talking about in the tweet.
Yes, I think they have
They have a name?
a nickname.
I didn't even know that.
Yes, and they are like they're like their own little like a posse type thing,
Hmm.
but they have their own little descriptive term for themselves. But and I know that they have been and taken issue with Nancy Pelosi too,
Hmm.
and Cortez referred to Nancy Pelosi as being racist.
Hmm.
Interesting, because she didn't. So this is the fallback position
Mhm.
now. If you don't agree with somebody's thoughts or comments or positions, just label them racist, and you automatically demonize them,
Hmm.
and then by default it elevates your position.
Yep. And then everyone assumes.
So, yeah, so interesting the whole process. So nobody's immune
Nobody's immune.
from
No.
being called a racist.
Nope.
If they don't like you, you're a racist.
Hmm.
And so you also during the preparing for the show, you said
Mhm.
you wanted to talk about was it the congressman from Texas,
Beto
Oh, yep,
Beto
Beto.
O'Rourke.
Mhm.
Mhm. And he is what his heritage is. He's got slavery in his family background.
Yep. So he brought that up. I'm trying to pull up the article right now. He brought it up and said that both him and his wife have that origin. And honestly, at first I interpreted that as like, wow, why would you bring that up to the media? They're just going to tear you apart. But what he did
He's trying to
with
illustrate
that,
a larger
he's trying
point.
a larger point,
Mhm.
and put himself above his past ancestry and pin himself as not racist and wanting to improve all of America and
Right.
all of the races and all of the classes and
Mhm.
such. And I think that he doesn't really have to say the fact that he never had to bring up any of this, because a majority of citizens pretty much around the world have some ancestry linked back to slavery. Like slavery's not just within
slavery of some sort.
of some sort. Like
Mhm.
slavery has been common in humanity for not since the beginning, but like for a very, very, very long time.
Many thousands of years.
Many thousands of years. Yes. Hmm.
Mhm. So
Just think it's not really a fact that you have to bring up to try to boost your
Your-
public opinion of yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
And I'm surprised that of all the things that are going on today in the news, that is one of the headliners. It makes me a little disappointed in the media,
Yeah.
because that's not that much of an important point to make.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Hmm.
So there's that. So I've got this little soundbite that Fox News. Do you want to play that now, or you want to do that after the break, or you want to?
No, we can play it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got this soundbite. If I can pull this up, here it is. This is Brett Baer. This is about a 3-minute piece, and he's actually doing a comparison of the Obama administration and the Trump administration on the immigration issue.
President Obama on the issue of immigration reform. You might be surprised. Tonight, correspondent Kevin Cork takes a look from the White House.
On day one, I'm going to begin swiftly removing criminal illegal immigrants from this country.
If his previous statements are a guide at all, Donald Trump's major speech on immigration Wednesday could turn out to be surprisingly similar to President Obama's position on the topic.
We have a lot of bad people that have to get out of this country. We're going to get them out.
That was Trump last week. This was the president in 2014.
And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families.
Both men say ridding the country of criminal illegal immigrants is a top priority, and both propose spending more on border security. And though Trump's constant call for a massive wall along the U.S.-Mexico border is not supported by the president, both men have been proponents of adding so-called virtual border security. White House officials today brushed back the notion that their approaches have much in common.
Is that really far afield from what Donald Trump is basically saying? If they're a criminal, they're going to be out of here?
I guess it depends on the day you ask.
Indeed, Trump's statements on illegal immigration have run the gamut. He once supported deportation forces, but has since softened his tone, favoring a more nuanced handling of those here illegally. Even the president's had a tough time finding his footing on the issue, assailed by some advocacy groups for being the deporter-in-chief. The Obama administration has deported more than the sum of all the U.S. presidents of the 20th century, 2.5 million and counting, including last year when 91% were said to have had criminal records. Conservatives have long accused the administration of cooking the books, inflating the number of deportees, and analysts say there's a good reason for that.
Nobody believes that the political class, from the president on down, will actually enforce the immigration laws in the future any better than they've been enforced in the past.
And that really is the rub in this issue. Now, Brett, you may be interested. What's Hillary Clinton's policy on fighting illegal immigration? Well, her policy essentially mirrors that of the president, which is to say she'd like to keep the focus on deporting dangerous criminals and terrorists. Brett?
Although May issue more executive orders to keep others here. Kevin, late this afternoon, the president continued to offer prison commutations to scores of convicted felons. What can you tell us about that?
All right, so that was actually recorded during the Obama administration, and that goes back to what 2016 maybe. So, and the deportation numbers for the Obama administration ended up being a lot higher than what was reported here in this feature. So, yeah.
And Fox News made it?
Yeah, this was a Fox News feature, and it was just doing a compare and contrast. Again, not giving any editorial, just straight news. This is what each administration's positions are. That's all. And of course, at that time, that was candidate Trump. So, yeah. And really, so, yeah, I mean, so what are your thoughts? I mean, I have my thoughts on it, but this shows about you guys. So what are your thoughts?
Of the difference in their two different policies, or?
Right, between the Obama administration and the Trump administration. Obama has deported more people than Trump has. But you didn't hear about it.
No.
The gnashing of teeth, right?
Obama didn't really make it a huge point of his campaign to deport immigrants. So he just sort of did it behind.
Right. He did it quietly.
Quietly.
Yeah. He did it quietly. And the media was complicit in that they didn't,
They didn't blow it out of proportion.
They didn't raise any alarm bells.
Nope.
They said, oh, yeah, okay, fine. If the president's doing it, it must be fine.
But now that we have.
Because he's our guy.
Yeah. Now that we have Donald Trump
a different guy
in the office,
right,
and he's not their guy,
right,
obviously, but
fascinating, yeah, very, very interesting. So that was that was again recorded likely in 2016, about this time of year, I would guess, mid-season. But anyways. Just kind of an interesting comparison and contrast between both administrations. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's funny to see how much Obama really supported the deportation of illegal immigrants, criminal immigrants. I didn't think he was that into deportation, but after
Because
seeing
you didn't
that
see it
video-
in the news.
Never
Yeah,
saw
I
it in the
never saw
media.
it
The
in
media
news.
totally influences our point of view on situations that are happening right now.
Right. Right. So this is fascinating. So if you don't hear about it, it must not have happened.
Yep.
But again, all the people that have been deported in either administration and even in preceding administrations,
Mhm.
the deportations had to do with people that had their cases heard and adjudicated. In other words, they were resolved,
Mhm.
and the solution was they had to go home.
Mhm.
Because they didn't meet the burden of maybe they were asylum seekers and they didn't meet the burden for asylum.
Mhm. Do you know
And
what that requirement is to seek asylum
it depends upon the country you're seeking asylum from.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
Mhm.
So you have to, if there's like a political or there's physical rationale, again, it depends upon the country of origin. For example, if you're from Canada
Mhm.
and you want to seek asylum in the U.S., we would scratch
Yeah,
our heads. Would say
definitely. Yeah.
probably
Probably
no.
not. Yeah.
You know, if you're from Great Britain
Mhm.
and you
They're
want to seek
probably-
asylum, I don't think so. If you're from Australia, New Zealand,
Yeah. Any like
probably not.
privileged first world country.
Well, yeah, they're not. But there are countries in which likely you are not
Being subjected
politically
to-
persecuted,
Yep.
or your life's likely not in danger,
Mhm.
right? If you're from Italy, France, Germany, any of those countries, very difficult to seek political asylum,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because there's nothing you're really running from.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? You
Mhm.
know. So and in fact, a lot of the people that they have found at the border illegally crossing
Mhm.
again between the regulated borders station crossing selected areas where
Mhm.
they kind of go between
Yeah.
the fences, so to speak, and 58 countries
Wow.
are represented in some of these people.
Yeah.
These are
Mhm.
not South American countries.
No.
58 countries.
Mhm.
So people are just funneling from all over the world into Mexico and then
Mm-hmm.
trying to sneak in. Wow. So, I mean,
Surprised if this isn't happening up north and we just don't
Right.
know it yet.
it's very difficult to cross the border between US
Canada,
Yeah,
yeah.
very difficult.
Mhm.
First of all, New York,
Mhm.
the Ambassador Bridge in Michigan.
Mhm.
All right. There's another big border crossing, I think probably in Washington State or, up there in the Northwest. But yeah, I mean, mostly you just got you got acres and acres of forested
Yeah.
land and maybe no roads.
Mhm.
So how would you cross? It would be very difficult. Plus,
Mhm.
I think we probably have other surveillance assets like we would want to use on the border. But
Mhm.
surveillance assets that we would use, like high-tech assets like satellite surveillance,
Mhm.
right? If you got one or two people that you're watching, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
But when you got 500,000,
That's impossible.
satellites are not going to really be very helpful.
Yeah. Mhm.
And this is why, the current administration is, angling for,
Different methods.
yeah, it's like a
Mhm.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got that. Well, we got another 3 minutes before our mid-show break. So what else do we want to cover?
We can talk about the bill that passed in Congress.
The $4.5 billion.
Dollars, yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Just
Okay.
touch a little light on that.
Yep.
Personally, when I first heard about it, I was a little bit shocked at the amount of funds allocated
Right.
towards that rather than other issues that are present within our country.
Right. And those are just catch-up funds.
Yeah.
Just-
Mhm.
just
it's not a
to-
permanent solution, no.
It is, those funds are to hire in new border agents
Mhm.
because they're just grossly
Unqualified.
Well,
Yeah.
they're grossly undermanned.
Yeah.
So they're qualified people, but the problem is they need of more people
Mhm.
because they're just overrun by so many people. They need to buy diapers for the kids, and they need to have beds, and they
Mhm.
need to have stuff, food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody's drinking water out of the toilets, by the way. That was a misnomer. That was
Who started that?
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yep.
Oh.
She said, they have asking people to drink water from the toilets. And it turns out the sink in the toilet, there's a one stainless steel fixture and with the water, like a water fountain at the top. Right?
Gotcha.
And so you got to be pretty moronic to think that just because you got a water fountain at the top of a toilet tank that it's toilet water. It's not. It's
still probably not 100% sanitary.
It is. It's water. It's just a device at the top. The water inside the toilet tank is clean water. It's just potable water.
Yeah.
And if you put on top of that, you've got a water fountain. You've got a water fountain. What they built was a single, intelligently one device that they could construct and they could put into, otherwise you have to put in a sink for every bathroom, a separate toilet. So it was just a speed up mechanism for, and if you go into jails, I'm sure they have similar devices.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So anyway, so that's that.
Time now. Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest.
There we go. I knew we'd get it right eventually. All right. Let's take that mid-show break. And when we come back, we have much more to cover. So stick with us.
Welcome back to 1450 WSTU, the Treasure Coast Forum.
All right.
Nice job, King.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we are back. So we're going to talk about
something that's
we're gonna
pretty
go from-
prevalent in the media for our generation,
so
at least.
we're going to switch from illegal aliens to space aliens.
Space aliens.
Right?
Space Force. No.
Yeah.
So go on.
So there's this online petition or something on Facebook that's garnered over like 1 million people agreeing that
A million now?
over 1 million. Yeah.
So supposedly 9,000 people are
goodness.
scheduled to
more
descend.
than 9,000.
I thought
way more than 9,000.
last time that I
now.
heard about it, it was 40,000.
It was
No,
I
400,000.
I looked yesterday. It was 400,000, and I checked this morning, and it said it was over 1 million.
Wow.
So they're all going to so
Yeah.
for our listeners. So this is going to happen when?
I'm pretty sure it's September 20th.
September
Okay.
September 20th.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And
Area
they-
51.
yeah, Area 51. It's online on the Facebook thing. It's sort of as a joke. Like the person who created the page said that he doesn't actually intend on doing this, and he
Raiding
put, like,
Area 51.
yeah, on
Yes.
raiding Area 51 so that they can like see the aliens, so that they can have
Right.
proof.
Show us the aliens.
Yeah,
Yes.
Show us the aliens. Yeah.
Yeah, that's their whole.
So
like,
they figure
cry.
if a whole bunch of people show up, they can't shoot them all.
Exactly.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because
they can't stop us all.
they are charged with using deadly force. By the way,
Oh,
the,
wow.
the people that protect that area, that's Groom Lake.
Mhm.
That is a highly sensitive, protected area. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
In fact, all the people that work there, they have to fly into work. They go to
Wow.
McLaren Airport in Las Vegas, and then they fly over from there.
Wow.
And yeah, they fly them in, and then they go to work, and then they fly them home. But nobody lives there
Mhm. Except for maybe the aliens.
except for the aliens.
We don't know
they,
that,
Well, they
yeah.
need somebody to stay behind and keep the
Oh,
equipment running.
yeah.
Yes.
Just keep the aliens alive.
So, well, that's kind of interesting. It should be kind of a fun.
Yeah, and the I'm pretty sure the Air Force responded on Twitter and said that they will be standing ready against any threat that comes on September 20th.
My goodness.
So
Okay.
they know.
I
and
wonder.
they're ready for the people who said they're going to attack.
I wonder if like any foreign groups will plan on attacking on that day. If they'll have numbers with the 1 million that plan on raiding. It's a
Well,
joke. No. Never mind.
But yeah, think about the chaos that would cause.
That it's definitely
Wow.
not feasible in my opinion, because how could you fly 1 million people?
There's just absolutely nothing there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be an event to see if it
Wow.
actually happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure a couple will actually try to do it.
There are people that there's a few access roads,
Mhm.
and they are there's lots of signage there on those access roads that if you pass a certain point, you're in trouble.
Yeah, putting yourself in danger. Mhm.
Row. And so you're fully warned. You just can't stumble across it and say, "Oh, I didn't know."
Mhm.
Yeah, really?
Mhm. There's signs saying.
Yeah. So, some people, they deliberately go there on these roads to see how soon they can, the guys would roll up on Jeeps
Mhm.
up to them.
Wow.
And it's almost instantaneous. It's amazing because once you reach a certain point, you are on their radar.
Mhm.
And they're watching you, and they go, not so much.
Mhm.
And so, it's amazing.
Wonder
stuff.
what they have in there. Yeah. Is there
Well,
anything that we know for sure
okay,
that's in there?
Have you ever heard of the airplane, the F-117A?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, that's where it was developed. The super stealthy, super secret aircraft that we build, we don't
Mhm.
want anybody else to look at it.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be.
Mhm.
And then, so that's where they test a lot of airplanes. The stealth fighter was only flown at night, and they
Mhm.
did it deliberately so nobody could see it.
Yeah.
You know, so that will be interesting. So we'll keep
Yeah.
an eye on
Looking
that.
out for September 20th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So as we count down in future
Yep,
weeks,
count down the days.
it'll be interesting to see what that number looks like on the. I think people, it's like clickbait though, right?
Oh, definitely.
click, they'll
People are just doing it for
yeah,
the meme.
for giggles.
Yeah, just for
Yeah.
giggles and laughs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that'll be interesting.
Yep.
All right. So what else we got going on?
We can bring it back to not the space aliens, but
Illegal aliens.
illegal aliens.
All right.
So talking about
The previous administration, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the
Mhm.
this current administration refers to them as illegal aliens.
Mhm.
By definition, that's what they are. The previous administration and the Hillary Clinton campaign referred to them as undocumented aliens, which means they're illegal.
Mhm. The same thing,
Yeah,
but
it's just softer sounding,
Mhm.
undocumented.
Mhm.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Mhm. Actually, to take away from all the aliens, just to bring us on to a different topic,
Mhm.
what we talked about last week, with the Jeffrey Epstein saying that he's willing to pay a $1 million bail at this point,
Yes,
like begging for
right.
freedom. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I doubt that'll
That's
actually
never going
happen.
to happen. No.
Yeah.
He is a big flight risk.
Mhm.
He owns property outside the country.
Yep.
So
Actually, on
in
CNBC.
the islands, right, where we don't have any extradition,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, he would try to get away for sure, for
Sure.
sure. But CNBC said that he actually isn't a billionaire, apparently, according to his lawyer, but not sure how true that is, saying that he owns so much property and real estate, and it was found in his safe that he had dozens of diamonds and piles of cash.
Sure.
Yeah. And also something that was a little off that was found in his safe was a passport that contained a photo of him, but was said to have like status, legal status to Saudi Arabia, being like a
Another
resident. Yeah.
It was a
Like a
res-
fake passport basically was found. So I wonder if that could even
Wow.
get him in trouble at this point, or he's already dug a grave for himself.
Oof.
So nothing can.
Well, it probably
make
had a
matters
different name.
worse.
So a Jewish name like Epstein
Mhm.
likely would not have a Saudi passport.
Yeah, different name. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't see that being as a likelihood. So,
Mhm. And then also found in his safes were pictures of the girls, which yeah, and some of them were like confirmed. Yeah, not good. Luckily, he's locked up right now.
Yes.
Hopefully, won't get the bail.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in
No,
their
this
right
is
mind would let that happen just because of money.
Not a good climate for this sort of behavior.
Mm-mm.
That sort of behavior is never good.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
So, also, I was reading headliners and saw that, a little off topic, but the Amazon warehouse workers currently are going on strike on Prime Day, which is one of Amazon's most popular selling days because of the deals. And they are going on strike because of working conditions and also not being insured a permanent job for many. So I wonder how that will make stocks drop, like how the stocks are relating to the workers going on strike, and if they still even are on strike. How
Right.
long till a solution will be found.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Anything to add, Kane? Anything?
I don't have anything though.
No. All right.
Just might mess up my Amazon orders on Prime Day.
Oh no.
I don't
Worry
know.
about that.
So what kind of orders are you thinking to place in order? Like a new computer stuff for school?
Yeah, probably. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna get a
Ooh.
new computer for college,
Nice.
Nice.
MacBook or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something with lots of memory to it, right?
Yeah, I need something like that.
I'm looking for a memory chip that I can actually plug into my head.
Ooh, also on this
Expanded memory, right?
on this article, Elizabeth Warren actually tweeted in support to the Amazon workers striking, saying, "I fully support Amazon workers' Prime Day strike. Their fight for sales and reliable jobs is another, safe and reliable jobs, sorry, is another reminder that we must come together to hold big corporations accountable.
Accountable to
Safe conditions and reliable jobs, I guess." That doesn't.
yeah.
Eh.
Sounds like
She's trying. She's
it's
trying.
trying, but
She's really trying.
I don't think she sold me yet.
She's trying to buy those Prime workers, the Amazon workers votes, probably.
Yeah, she's trying to stand with
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. The downtrodden man that has a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay. It's okay. You know, the marvelous thing about work is that if you don't like your job,
You can always quit.
get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then the employer, if they want to save money, they'd want to retain you. If you're a valuable employee,
Mhm.
they'll pay you
So-
accordingly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, it's
So Amazon
That's
is
how
doing what they're
capitalism
doing
works.
for a reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they all employers, they want to get the most labor they can
hmm
for the best
How
bang
much
for
they're
their
paying,
buck,
yeah.
right?
hmm
But if you are a valued employee, you're going to get paid well.
hmm
And if not, you find another job that'll pay you what you're worth, because now you've got that on your resume
hmm
that I
Yeah.
work there and this is what I've done. That works out pretty well. So somebody else that's looking to hire well-trained employees will snap you up too. So I think it works both ways. Anyways, all right. Well, very good. So let's.
Head out to another break.
Yes, this is our last break. So
Last break,
stick
we'll-
with us.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to WSTU 1450, the Treasure Coast Forum.
Way to
All right.
go. Yeah.
Got it.
Participation.
Well done. All right. Okay, everybody's been heard from now.
Yes.
Okay, so in the remaining 10 minutes, what else we got going on?
So Kane just got an alert on his phone from CNN saying,
Okay.
So Donald Trump had just held like a press conference or something on the White House lawn,
Mhm.
and in it, there's a quote right here on CNN that says, from Donald Trump, if somebody has a problem with our country, if somebody doesn't want to be in our country, they should leave.
And is that relating back to the tweet
Yeah,
that he
that-
posted on Sunday?
Yeah, he
Mhm.
also denied that his tweets were racist, saying when he was asked if they were racist, he said not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
This is not, it's just if
He wasn't actually attacking them in any way.
No,
Just
if the door is open, if
Mhm.
you're here and you don't want to be here, that's fine,
Mhm.
you know. But why are people fighting and dying just to get here?
yeah.
because we're so good.
Well, there it is.
Whew.
There it is. In the year 1901, on this date, 74,000 Pittsburgh steel workers went on strike. Interesting, which brings us to the Amazon strike.
Yeah,
coming
the
up.
Amazon strike. Tons
right?
of strikes.
And in 1942, on this date, the very first supply flight from India to China over the hump was flown. That was very huge. In fact, even taught in the Chinese schools
Oh, wow.
to this day.
Mhm.
Because China was so isolated by Japan
Mhm.
during World War II, they were starving.
Wow.
And these over-the-hump flights were actually flown by U.S. airmen
Mhm.
to bring food and supplies into China.
What was the hump?
The hump is flying over India,
Oh, gotcha.
over the mountains. So
Mhm.
over the hump.
Mhm.
So
Well, sadly, our relationship with China isn't quite the same.
no,
as-
because I think during the President Nixon, during the Nixon administration, when he really opened up our country to China, the thought was if we did some trading with them, and we showed them how democracy works, and that they could participate in a free trade of goods and services, that the thought was it would democratize the country ultimately, even though we understood that they were a communist country.
Mhm.
Well, it just hasn't happened.
Nope.
But certain segments of their country are better off, but
Mhm.
there's still a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, relating to China, so China says that they will cut ties with U.S. firms selling arms to Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we all know the current issues going on in Taiwan, trying to seek
Stay autonomous.
stay
from China.
autonomous. Yes, and obviously with this move by China,
Mm-hmm.
it's also definitely taking away from Taiwan's autonomy,
Right.
by
Right.
limiting their access to weapons and such.
Right. And the reason why they want the weapons is because they're not very sanguine about having China be the ultimate authority,
Mhm.
because they have a freer culture and society
Mhm.
than the Chinese mainland,
Mhm.
and they kind of like it that way.
Yeah, and if I was in Taiwan, I'd be kind of scared having a big communist country right next to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a bit intimidating.
It would be, yes, indeed. Like Hong Kong is currently going through that right now.
Mhm.
They're doing, millions of people have come out on the street to protest the Chinese government, and so
Wow.
we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. So also going on in Asia, if we didn't touch on this last week, but it happened last week
Mhm.
with the Iranian boats seizing a British oil tanker.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, last week, 2 boats approached the British tanker on its way through the
Straits of Hormuz.
Yes, which is, if you do not know, a very oil-rich area, and
Mhm.
it's the only entrance. It's like a one-way entrance into.
It's a choking point.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So obviously, the British oil tankers were choked at that point, and luckily, a royal ship was nearby and approached the 2 Iranian boats and escalated the problem by pointing guns, but de-escalated it by having no shots fired.
Right.
Mhm.
They pointed guns, and the other guy says,
Yeah, and then
So
they're
it
like,
scares
yeah,
so
we
much.
don't want a war right
Yeah.
now.
It's a better day for a boat ride
yeah.
than a fight. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So also just like our current relationship with Iran is obviously not
Strained.
too good.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I was actually reading an article that BBC News published where they actually went inside Iran and spoke with Iranians about their opinion of the standoff with the US.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously their opinion of the US is not too good because of the situation and also because of their media's influence on their opinions. And I found it actually really interesting that the Iranians were saying that because of Trump's sanctions upon their country,
Mhm.
that they
This is the
actually,
people on the street.
yes,
Not the people
No.
in government.
yeah, just
Okay.
random people on the street,
Mhm.
like in the market, saying that their country is now more united than ever.
Mhm.
That Trump might have thought that these sanctions would tear the country apart even more, but it's actually united the conservatives and liberals within the country.
Right. Because
So like find
they're-
a common enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all feeling the pinch.
Yep.
Now the mullahs that are in charge of how the country's run,
Mm-hmm.
do you think they're missing any meals?
Definitely not.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably not. But the guys in the streets are.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's the intention is to make it more difficult for them to do banking and business so that they can't use their oil revenue for doing bad things, because
Yeah.
that's what historically they do, right?
Yeah.
Many of our soldiers that have lost their limbs through roadside bombs, guess where the bombs were built?
Yeah.
Iranian
Mhm.
folks had a lot to do with that.
Mhm.
So I think we're pretty well placed to want to stop that country from exporting terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
And also they were saying just a majority of the public in Iran were saying that they don't believe that they'll go to war because it's not in favor of either of the countries, like
Mhm.
best
best
option.
interest,
Yeah,
right?
best interest. Mhm.
hmm Yeah, because nobody really wins in a war. It's
No,
just-
nobody. It's only loss. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's an ugly situation. It's very, very costly,
Mhm.
both in human lives and resources. It's just nothing to be really gained from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and kumbaya, if we can just learn to get along together, life would be a lot easier for everybody.
It's not going to happen.
No,
Not going to happen. At least not right now.
no, not right now.
How much time do we have?
We got
left?
another about 2-3 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, just a quick little story.
Okay.
So, in Greece, an American scientist was murdered and placed in a Nazi bunker back, like World War II bunker.
Wow.
Yeah,
When did the murder take place?
it took place. Well, she went missing July 2nd, and her body was found a week later. And
Okay, this year.
this year.
Okay,
This year. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, basically, the cause of death was assumed she suffocated to death, but was later dumped into the bunker. And it's still not known who exactly killed her, but there are suspects that are currently in.
A man's been detained.
Yeah, detained. Yes, a man has been detained, but they're still
Now-
not 100% sure. if
And
he
where did
actually
this
did
take
it.
place?
Greece.
Greece.
Wow.
Hmm. So I wonder why just randomly an American scientist would die, what the actual intentions of the person that committed the crime were.
Right.
If are there any like issues with Greece and the United States right now that do you think would cause this?
No, I don't. I think it's got nothing to do with Greece.
Greece,
It
mhm.
probably has something to do with maybe the work that individual was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have thoughts, but I have
Oh, no.
refrained from. If I wanted to write a spy novel, that
Ooh.
would be the
Oh,
that
there
would
we
be
go.
that would be the topic I would go if I was going that way. But
Mhm.
since we're not writing a spy novel, we
no.
don't want to speculate.
Yeah, just a radio show.
Yeah. That's very good. So, in the couple minutes we have left, we can talk a little bit about youth in government.
Yep.
And what you do in youth in government and what your plan is for the next school year within
Mhm.
youth in government. We can chat about that for a couple minutes.
Yep. So basically, I'm a member of Youth in Government. It is an amazing student-run organization where there's multiple different programs within Youth in Government, and the one that I'm personally in is legislative, and there's also judicial and press.
Mhm.
Those are the two other options. And so within the legislative program, we compose bills and present them in front of a student body and attempt to pass our bills through different committees. And it just is a great program that allows students to really get a better understanding of our government and how it works and how they can better our government.
Nice.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
Well done. That's like your elevator speech, right?
Yeah,
Well
there we
done.
go, yeah.
Okay. I love it. Well done. And we'll see you here again next week on Treasure Coast Forum.